As we start to get on a bit, our body starts wearing thin, particularly our muscles and particularly our joints. And this, sadly, doesn't just affect us on the mats. It affects us off the mats as well. It starts waning and dragging down our quality of life. And there's so many analogies for this exact point, and this video aims to address those men that believe that for whatever reason they cannot build their own grappling body armor, because none of us wants to realistically fall into this category. Frail, fragile, not resilient, weak man. We don't want that. We may have a current expectation of that being a complete inevitability. However, the optimists out there, the people that are positive about the future, wondering with aspiration whether we can do this, this video is for you. So let's get cracking. In today's video, I will be covering in a lecture format the armor building mindset. I will talk about what will catch you out, and I will talk about the most potent actionable points. As always, men, these are learning points from my one-to-one clients. This is what I teach on this channel, is exactly what I do with the guys on my one-to-one program that have similar missions with regards to this stuff. So for those that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Paul Green. As you can see, I'm a former British Paratrooper and Special Forces Support Group operator. And I train blokes that want to strengthen their joints, forge resilient joints, and massively improve their longevity in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. However, sometimes I get people from different disciplines, and that is absolutely fantastic. But as you can see, lots of different injuries, and we managed to turn things around in a pretty quick time frame because they have a system that aligns with their unique situation. Okay, on this channel there is a theme, and the theme is that we always take a moment to discuss usually what the most limiting factor is in all your physical endeavors, and it is just taking a moment to have a look and think about the mindset principles, right? Because we can all follow a plan for a certain period of time, but once that period of time is finished and we've got the results in which we wanted, we might fall back into old ways of thinking and then fall back physically into our old previous, shitty version of ourselves. We don't want that. So we need to take a moment just to appreciate the mindset principles that underlie all of this stuff. Without that, it's pointless. It really is pointless, right? So mindset principle number one, one of the most important things, is you must believe it is possible no matter what your current situation. You need to understand mindset principle number two. Building your body armor is compulsory if you want high quality decades to still be ahead of you. I don't have the time to do it right now. I'm just waiting until the kids leave for, university. I'm just waiting until work, I go to part-time, or I'm just waiting for whatever reason, right? At the end of the day, whatever your current situation is, and the amount of different things that are pulling you left and right of your center, at the end of the day, the reality is still the same. The reality is building your muscles and joints, building your body armor is compulsory if you want high quality decades to be ahead of you. There is just no left and right of that statement. And it's not just about off the mat, on the mat as well. It's about off the mats. Do you know what I mean? Because we have weekends, we have, family activities, everything all comes into the off the mat. And if anything, sometimes the mats actually deceive us in thinking that we're doing all right, because we don't have to play stand up. We can sit down. So our knees get a perception that they're actually not that bad. And then when we have to stand up and walk down the stairs and jump into our car and get back out of the car after the gym sesh, then the reality sets in, especially the next morning, right? So it's not just about on the mats, it's off the mats as well. Actionable point number one. The most important thing at the earliest possible stage is fueling for high performance, right? Mindset Your mindset must be, this is not a diet. I am just eating normal food. You need to eat foods that are nutrient dense and as high quality as possible, right? And when I say nutrient dense, for the most part, you just need to eat whole foods. So your food that you're eating is a single ingredient. Yeah, every so often, you can treat yourself, but for the most part, filling your diet with whole foods, oats, rice, potatoes, fruit, veg, beef, chicken, eggs, Greek yogurt. Do you know what I mean? Like, unbelievable food. And secondly to that, you need to eat the correct amount for your output, right? You can do a calorie calculator, you can work out your current weight, your predicted body fat percentage, and how much activity you're doing in a day, how much you're training that week, and it'll give you a number. The number's a prediction. Just eat that. Try it for a week, right? Because it doesn't matter how healthy you're eating. If you're not eating the correct amount, you're going to feel like shit. So when you get these two right, you're going to feel amazing, right? Thirdly, you might miss this one out. This is a very important one. You need to prioritize carbohydrates around weightlifting training, right? Before every weightlifting session, you need to consume a good amount of carbohydrates. And after every weightlifting session, you need to eat a good amount of carbohydrates. This is not the same as BJJ. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is an aerobic, muscular endurance-based sport. Yes, of course, there is going to be flavour of power and explosiveness when we're in absolute tatters, where we might use a bit of carbohydrates as the intensity spikes. But for the most part, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is endurance-based. We're repping, we're drilling, we're taking it easy, we're thinking, we're problem-solving, we're resting, we're talking about techniques, right? It's a technical sport. Yes, listen, I know sometimes it's fucking crazy, and absolutely, if you're training for a competition, then the carbohydrate allocation may shift slightly from weight training, then go to from hard to hard sparring. That is potentially a sensible thing to do. However, for you, and the most part, building body armor, carbohydrates need to be around weightlifting training, because you don't build body armor by doing jiu-jitsu at high intensity. You build body armor in the gym, right? Talk more about that in a sec. So hopefully you appreciate these points, because you probably knew a couple of these, but this one you might not have known. So important, because if you don't have enough energy for your training sessions, you can't train hard and you can't gain strength and muscle. It sounds so simple, but it's so important, lads. So, leading on from that, remember, if you're eating extremely good quality, nutrient-dense foods, how much more energy you're going to have. Think about this. If you're a head coach of a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym, you're grappling 10 to 15 hours a week, and then maybe a couple of weight training sessions on top of that, you need to be eating lots, right? So it's so important that you get this right, because it's your livelihood, it's your job. It's what you do for a living. If you've got a really good quality car, you've got a sports car, you put premium fuel in it, you feel the torque, you feel the accelerations instantaneous. Your body's the same, and it's brain function as well. I eat well, I eat really well, right? And I feel amazing every fucking day. All day I feel amazing. And I'm in a calorie deficit. Everything, right? See how excited I'm getting? So all of your most important tasks, psychologically, meals like this prior, perfect. But you don't necessarily need to wake up and eat this unless you're really hungry. Like, I eat as late as possible. Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about myself. Rice, chicken breast, mixed veg, olive oil. Pretty straightforward, right? Pretty straightforward lunch. Pre-gym, the most important meal of the day is making sure you've got fucking 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrates surging through your bloodstream prior to a weightlifting session. I'm not too bothered about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because you don't necessarily need that much energy for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? And criticize me. Let's have a comment. Let's have it out in the comments below if you don't agree with what I'm saying. You need high energy, high performance in the weights room, because if you don't have high performance, you cannot build muscle. You cannot force the extra rep if you do not have these carbohydrates in your system. You're going to be flat as a fart. Post-gym, pretty straightforward. Bottled water, protein powder, banana. Bit of sugar, just to settle your nerves before you're back and have your meal. Big meal, pasta, mixed veg, lean ground beef, sweet potato. Massive meal. Look at the volume of that. You've got 300 grams, 450 grams, 600 grams, 850 grams of food. Nearly a kilo of food. See what I'm saying with volume, nutrient density, and then here on a night you've got mixed berries and low-fat yogurt. How much food is that? That's a fucking shitload of food, right? And it's about 10, 11 ingredients. So that's a great meal plan, right? And if you prefer to train on a morning, you just make sure that the post-gym goes in the morning. So you just go, right, okay, my most important meal, pre and post-gym are around the weightlifting session, right? And that's what it'd look like. So you just go, bosh. And then, there we are, pre-gym. Oh, so you'd wake up, jam, kettle, boiling water, little bit of water, stir it, get that down your neck, get lifting weights, train fucking hard, post-gym, and then you'd be sound and you'd leave a gap for as long as possible, and then you'd have your eggs and you're absolutely sound. And then you've got, look at all this food you've still got to eat. It's 2,500 calories. Obviously, the numbers here are going to vary, right? Depending on how much output you're doing. But this is a typical jiu-jitsu bloke, trains 3 or 4 times a week on the mat and wants to train 2 or 3 times a week off the mat as well. If you want me to build this out for your unique situation, I can absolutely do that and guide you through the process. Links in the description. Summarise that because a lot of information, right? I know you know most of this stuff already, but I'm just filling the gaps, right? And I'm packaging it in a way that prioritises mindset. Nutrient-dense food that is as high quality as possible. Easy to prepare, and you massively enjoy eating, right? That meal plan there, I love beef. So trying to get me to eat turkey or white fish is just not going to work for me. I'm not going to show up every day and literally enjoy cooking beef, the shitty version of the protein, or the annoying version of the carbohydrate, or the not tasty version of salad or veg, or, do you know what I mean? Make sure you're eating the protein source in which you fucking love. Make sure you eat the carbohydrate source in which you absolutely love. That's really good for digestion and really good for energy. Make sure you're eating fruit and veg that you fucking love. It shouldn't require any effort to prepare. It should be so easy to cook. You don't want 50 ingredients per meal. It needs to be aligned with how much energy you need in a day. That prioritises carbohydrates around weightlifting sessions. We've talked about that and why. Actionable point number 2, training to build strength and resilience of the muscles and the joints, i.e. your grappling body armour. Mindset, this is compulsory if I want to do this for as long as possible. So, first and foremost, you need to decide your weekly weightlifting split. Err on the side of caution with this, lads. You can always start small and then potentially, as the weeks go on and you start to get a feel for it, you may be able to add an extra session in later on down the line. However, definitely err on the side of caution. Make sure there's rest days in between weightlifting sessions. We don't want to make these weightlifting sessions take away from our quality of life and take away from the quality of our mat time. We want it to add quality to our mat time. However, this is a golden rule that I like to use as a coach, coaching grapplers that are injured and some that are injury prone. If you're injured, do more lifting than you do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you're not injured, do more Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu than lifting. 2 or 3 sessions a week is fine, but you have to be dynamic, right? And what I mean by being dynamic is make changes based on how you feel in the week. Don't make changes every week. I'm just saying, regards to fatigue management. If 3 sessions a week completely writes you off, then do 2. If 2 completely writes you off, then reduce the sets within that session. Does that make sense? Because we need to increase our quality of life. We need to increase our performance on the mat. And if it reduces it, then something is going wrong. And it's not because you're old, it's not genetics, it's because you're just doing a little bit too much at that time, at that period of time. Actual point 2.B, fatigue management, mindset. If done right, this should add to my life, not take away from it. On that, priority number 1, sleep like a baby. Bank your gains. Reduce sets if required from 3 to 2, and be smart about your intensity on the mats. Remember, you're here to prioritise the armour build, right? And I'm not saying be a robot of mundane intensity, not enjoy yourself grappling. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, be sensible. Be sensible. I'm going to give you an example from my program. Just let me exit this again. I'm going to give you an example, right? We've got a 3-day split here. Big movements to start off with. Flat dumbbell chest press. Basically, fill your program like you should be filling your diet with whole foods. 80% whole foods, 20%, treats. Yeah? With your training program, fill your training program up with 80% movements in which challenge the muscles and joints at their full range of motion. And then 20%, that don't. Because remember, for our joints to get strong, we need to be doing movements that challenge the joints through their full range of motion. Yes, we may have mobility limitations. However, even with mobility limitations, there is always a way to change the exercise slightly to allow full range of motion to occur. Makes sense. Honestly, if it doesn't make sense, message me in the comments below. Flat dumbbell chest press, we can get full range of motion of the chest. Pec fly machine, again, full range of motion of the chest and shoulders. Incline chest press machine, lat pull down, full range of motion of the lats. Wide arm horizontal row, we're getting full range of motion of the traps this time. And then a narrow row, we're getting the full shortening of the lats. So this is a 3-day split. Upper body, lower body, then full body. If it's a 2-day split, just repeat the full body one twice. Lower body, leg extension machine. Then we've got hamstring curl machine. We're getting not full range of motion of the knee joint on both of these, but we're getting pretty close. Deep Smith machine back squat. We're getting full range of motion of the knees there. This is a variation of a squat in which I've kind of created to make sure that blokes on my program over the age of 40, over the age of 50, sometimes 60-year-old can get full knee flexion, to get full knee strengthening from a squat because they might be tight in the ankles or the hips. I'm not bothered about the tightness in the ankles or the hips. I want to get their knees strong because knees are your life. And if you don't have strong knees, your quality of life is massively affected. Leg press machine, not necessarily full range of motion, but still a great strength building exercise. And then a dumbbell RDL to work the lengthening part of the hamstrings. Full body. Anyway, one point I want to make here, right? Whenever you see 3 sets of whatever, right? 3 sets usually takes 10 minutes. So it's important that you actually slot this into your life with as little friction as possible. If you've only got an hour, right, you need to think, okay, cool, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/6 exercises. Slot into your life, that's going to take an hour. Yeah? And then you've got to allocate travel time as well. If you've got home gym, great. It's going to take an hour out of your day. 5 or 6 exercises, there's 5, that's a 50-minute session. There's 6 exercises, that's a 60-minute session. So when I'm programming for the guys who say, look, Greenie, I've only got half an hour, I need to allocate that 3 exercises or 3 supersets, 3 different supersets. So this is a bigger session, full body. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7, 8. This is a 120-minute session, a big session. But remember, it is full body, so we're ticking off. Look, we've got the dumbbell RDLs, glute bridge, pec fly machine, chest dips, chin-ups, dumbbell row, dumbbell lateral raise, and a little bit of quarter finish, right? So these are the needle mover exercises. There's no waste because I'm assuming that you have barely any time to train and I'm giving you the best bang for buck exercises here. So hopefully you appreciate that. So we've got to move on to the intensity because this, without intensity, lads, this is completely pointless. I swear to God, right? Mindset. If you don't lift close to failure, you may not make any improvements. When you go to the gym, you look left and right of you, you see people that are just going through the motions. Yeah, I'm working out, I'm working. Listen, if you do not have the intent to lift more reps and more weight than you did the previous week, what is the point? You go into the gym, you drive into the gym, you're doing a workout, you're training to improve your grappling armour, improve your strength, improve the resilience of your joints. You need to actively think, I need to add more repetitions, I need to add more weight. And one of the golden rules of that workout plan that I've just said there is it's always road to 10. When you get 10 reps, add 10% more weight, and then you might get 6. Then it's always aim for 7, then aim for 8 the next session, then aim for 9. When you get to 10, add 10%. Giving you so much value here, you boys. I absolutely love it. If you're not adding the rep or the increased weight every week, you're not training hard enough. There's too many people that go into the gym and do the same amount of reps every single time. When I look at my blokes on my one-to-one program, I look at their workouts and I look at how many reps they've done. If I see 10 of the same weight, 10 of the same one on set number 2, and on set number 3, if I see 10 reps of the same weight for 3 sets in a row, I'm literally on the phone to them. I'm like, what are you doing? You should not be able to lift the same amount of weight for the same amount of repetitions for 3 consecutive sets. It's virtually impossible. Think about it. If you're training hell for leather, it's impossible. You might on occasion manage to cheat a rep to get the same amount. That's fine, right? But you need to make sure that this rule is applied. If you do not lift close to failure, I mean, you will not make any improvements. You might improve your blood flow, but you will not improve your strength, improve the resilience of your joints. It's not genetics. It's you versus the you on the previous session. Numbers lifted last session and the numbers you are trying to lift this session. Every time you go into the gym, you're checking, how many reps did I do on this exercise last time? What weight did I do? I did 35 kilos for 6 reps. Cool. I now know I go into that set with the intent to get the extra rep. Hopefully that makes sense. Gentlemen, that is it from me. Hopefully you appreciate that video. And just to finish, make sure you are conservative with your start in this journey. If you think you can do 3 workouts, if you think you can do 4 weight training sessions to build maximum armor, just relax a little bit. Do 3, do 2. Embed it into your soul and enjoy it. Look forward to it every single session. But make sure you start small.